Welcome to TMZ Live. We have a documentary coming out tomorrow night on Fox on Nick Reiner and the murder of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. And we have learned a lot. One of the most important things we've learned is that around 6 years before Nick...
6 years ago.
6 years ago, Nick was diagnosed with a mental illness called schizoaffective disorder, which results in hallucinations, delusions. Also, there are mood disorders like mania.
Severe depression.
Yeah.
Also part of it, yeah.
And that he was being treated for that. He got a drug that stabilized that mental illness.
Or a cocktail of drugs.
Yes.
And he was doing well until a month before the murders.
A month before the murders, we are told doctors changed his meds. And that's when he started going off the rails.
Very alarming behavior. Even the word dangerous was used, that he was dangerous. And his parents were aware of this. They were watching this happen, and they really just didn't know what to do about it at that point.
Now, full disclosure, we have asked our sources, why did they change the meds if the meds were working? The answer we got back was, we can't tell you that right now. But when you find out what it is, you are going to be shocked, saying there is no justification for it in their view, and that it defies logic, and it's not something you could guess. So that's what we are left with. But the bottom line is that they changed his meds. We are told he went off the rails, that they never tried to get him in a psychiatric facility during that month. And that is why when Alan Jackson, his former lawyer, went before the media after the hearing yesterday, after he withdrew from the case, he said Nick Reiner will be found not guilty by a jury. And
pursuant to California laws.
And the code for that is not guilty by reason of insanity. And that directly connects to the change of his meds for schizoaffective disorder a month before he killed Rob and Michelle.
Right. So joining us now to talk more about schizoaffective disorder, how it's treated, and what happens when medications are changed, is Dr. Drew, who we are very fortunate to have his expertise on this. Dr. Drew, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Gentlemen, always a privilege. Unfortunately, it's too often under tragic circumstances like this. But let me just say, schizoaffective fits. Schizoaffective is not necessarily progressive the way schizophrenia is, but it has some of the same symptomatology. They can appear odd. They can be socially completely sort of not perceiving things normally. They can become delusional. They can hallucinate. They can have severe mood disturbances. But there's a feature to schizoaffective. In fact, it used to be almost considered a personality disorder. And it's an extremely unpleasant condition to be around. And it's extremely unpleasant for the patients. So, Harvey, you said we can't guess why he came off the meds.
I can't. I
I'm
can't.
gonna guess. Yeah, I'm going to guess a couple things. Because people with psychotic disorders commonly either stop their meds or refuse to take their meds or manipulate their psychiatrist into changing because of a variety of symptoms, some of them quite legitimate. It's very unpleasant sometimes to be sort of pushed down with these antipsychotic medication. And we're always, as clinicians, trying to find something that controls the symptoms but doesn't make them miserable. I mean, it might have been a reasonable move. It was the wrong move, it turned out, but it might have been reasonable at the time.
Wait a minute, you're insinuating that you have some theories on why a doctor would change those meds if they had been working.
It's very common for the patient to come in and go, I don't like how I feel. I can't get an erection. I'm gaining weight. There's a lot of reasons. I feel blunted. I feel better when they don't like how they feel on these medications. They'd rather be not necessarily psychotic, but not in the condition they're in. And unfortunately, there's oftentimes for some patients, no perfect zone to get them in. And I'm very sympathetic to people trying to get there because we want to help the patients.
I get that part of it, Drew, that you want to help the patient, and the patient comes in and says, this isn't working for me. But at the point where doctors or people around the patient are seeing behavior that, as in this case, which we heard was alarming, dangerous. Does it not become beholden upon the physician to say this person should be in a facility?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, in California, you can't do that. So I'm going to blame the state of California for how things actually played out.
Well, wait a minute. As a psychiatrist, you can try to get them on at least a psychiatric hold, which could last up to 14 days, and at least then stabilize the person.
It's very, first of all, gravely disabled, which is the primary reason people used to be on holds, doesn't really exist anymore. It's now either actively suicidal or actively homicidal. And if somebody says, I want to kill myself, and you put them in the hospital, they go, I was just kidding. You have to let them out. The state is absolutely egregious in terms of how it allows us to help these people. Now, we don't know what they tried or attempted. We don't know whether Nick refused to go in. We just don't know what happened there. Clearly, it was wrong, incorrect, not to hospitalize him, to get him stabilized. But it may have been the law and the patient that conspired against that.
Amanda Bynes was involuntarily held, I believe it was for a couple of weeks. So I remember cases where it has happened.
It happens. It does happen, but it's when people are severely ill. Look, it happened to Brittany Spears, right?
Twice.
So what happens after 3 days, if you can keep them in for 3 days, which is, again, very difficult in this state, a judge literally comes into the patient room and has a hearing to decide whether the patient's sick enough to stay longer. And in this state, if you don't get the right judge, they're very liberal with sending people back out. There's a lot of a sort of bias in the law that takes the position, who are you to say? Literally, I heard somebody say 2 days ago, if they're psychotic, they're happier, so why don't we leave them psychotic?
Oh.
Literally. So that's the state we live in here in California.
So do you think...
can I just say, that's interesting, because remember, Alan said, under the laws of the state of California.
Right, so I would say, if that's the case, Drew, then it seems like it would make it that much more difficult to get an acquittal by reason of insanity.
No, I disagree. I think that the patient's lack of participation is part of their illness. And unfortunately, the law privileges the resistance and the lack of insight. And that's not the patient's fault. The patient is ill. The patient is sick. It's what didn't happen to and for the patient that ends up where we end up here. And look, there's a lot of blame to go around. It's very easy to look back as an armchair quarterback and call balls and strikes, and there was a lot of problems here. But we don't know all the phenomenon that conspired against poor Nick.
I want to ask you something different. And we talk about this a little bit in the documentary. This is an almost impossible thing, I think, for the family, for the Reiner family to process, that they are grieving the loss of their parents who died in a brutal, horrific way.
Yes.
And at the same time are watching their own flesh and blood on trial, knowing about his mental illness and the struggles that he and his parents went through to try and get him better. I mean, processing those emotions seems Herculean.
Indeed, it is. It requires a lot of talking and a lot of time. Grief is a horrible emotion that humans go to great lengths to avoid. But in situations like this that I have been involved with, where particularly, specifically, when a child kills a parent in a psychotic state, yes, angry, outrage, grief, all those feelings you expect. But what I have witnessed oftentimes is remarkable resiliency and forgiveness, because the patient was sick. They come to understand that my brother would not do this. He was ill and he didn't get the right treatment. Still painful, still grieving, still angry, but there comes to a level of forgiveness I've seen repeatedly that always surprises me.
Okay. Drew, we love having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And by the way, our documentary, TMZ Investigates the Reiner Murders, What Really Happened. It airs Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central on Fox. And the next day, Saturday, it drops on Hulu.
Coming up.
Jennifer Lawrence has very, very strong feelings about dogs, which she shared.
It's not like I just see them as a threat.
and one of them bit my son, and that made me just want to obliterate every dog.
Be right back.
Jennifer Lawrence has very, very strong feelings about dogs, which she shared while she was, last night she did a Q&A with some fans in New York City. And the question that came up is, are you a cat person or a dog person? Now, we know that Jennifer Lawrence has a dog.
Yes,
but
we do.
It's actually had, because she revealed something about why her feelings have changed on dogs, and changed drastically.
Are you a dog or a cat person?
I'm really uncomfortable answering this question.
Isn't it dogs? You have a dog.
Not anymore.
Oh my God.
Oh, no, she's right. After I had a kid, dogs became so scary, you know? Like, if my son's like going up to it, you know, and I'm like, it's almost like I don't recognize dogs right now. Like, I just see them as a threat. And one of them bit my son, and that made me just want to obliterate every dog. I'm just like, I'm gonna take out you and your I'm gonna go to China and take care of your friends over there. Anybody that looks like he's dead. And so I'm gonna say cat.
What she talked about there, I mean, yes, she did it in a funny way, but a lot of people deal with this issue when they have dogs, but then they have kids, and it doesn't always go smoothly, that transition.
I gotta say, look, I don't have kids, and I love dogs, and I have dogs. What bugs me the most is when somebody says, yeah, we had a kid, and screw the dog, we'll just put him in the backyard.
Which is not the situation
Which is not
she said.
what she's saying.
Right, but that happens also, and that is ridiculous.
That really bothers me.
Yes.
I get it. I mean, I get it, especially, and she said a Doberman bit her son.
She said one of her dog bit her son.
She said a dog bit.
No, she said a dog.
I will say that there was
she has a smaller dog.
So
she has a smaller dog.
She had Princess Pippi Longstocking, who is now with her parents, and it was a little Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
And now
I remember that dog.
And now she has a cat, Fred, that she is like. She also really sticks up for cats.
Let me ask you a question about cats, because
cats can have the same problem.
Cats will scratch like this.
Scratch doesn't refigure your child's.
No, I understand that,
it
but scratch,
can.
if they scratch a baby's
tiger.
They
face,
scratch in the eye.
Yeah.
A cat can absolutely harm a child.
Do damage. They can bite. They can
and they
scratch.
can bite.
Okay.
And
we're not hating on cats either. We're just saying that
it doesn't eliminate the problem, but I get it, and it's sad. But you know, I know people who have been bitten by dogs, and they're just always now afraid of dogs. And it's not like, okay, well, that was another dog. This is your dog. They're afraid of all dogs. And I think she's probably having the same reaction with her kid if the kid was bitten, and the kid may be afraid of dogs anyway. So I get it. It's different from what we've talked about, which is just discard the dog once you have the kid.
Discarding a dog that's unforgivable. But if you have an actual issue with your...
You also have to teach your kid, like specifically with my dog, I've had kids run up and grab. Like, you have to teach your kids, like, slow, like, put their hand out, because that's another way you can get attacked really easily.
Right,
too.
kids have to know that you can't just grab at a dog.
Run up to and grab
Somebody's kid came over to my house, this was like 15 years ago, and with their little kid, and they had a baby shovel, and they're shoving it in my dog's mouth.
Yeah, kids are idiots. They
Wait
don't
a
know what they're
second,
doing.
you allowed a child in your house?
Was that the headline?
Wow. Wait a second, you allowed a child in...
Hi, I'm Brittany, and I'm from sunny Southern California. So first things first, I feel like she has every right. As a mother of 3 myself, if a dog bites my seed, they are out of there. But if I'm being honest, I don't feel like you like the dog very much. And don't get mad at me. Let me explain why. I have 5 dogs. Yikes, when I say that out loud.
5 dogs, how many kids?
5 dogs, 3 kids.
Whoa, wow, whoa.
Yes. Yes, with my youngest being 5, and my Frenchie can't stand her. When she sees her coming, it's a Jet 2 holiday for my Frenchie. She's out of there. But I had to teach my kids boundaries with the dogs, and I had to teach the dogs boundaries with the kids so that they're both safe.
You're like a masochist.
Listen.
Wait, which one? The 3 kids or the 5 dogs?
But the combination.
Conan O'Brien is calling out comedians for attacking President Trump, for attacking him in a certain way. And this is really interesting. Obviously, There's always comedians going after Trump is nothing new. But Conan says it is getting much more difficult to do it, and comedians need to evolve, basically. This is what he had to say when he was speaking to the Oxford Club.
Some comics go the route of, I'm going to just say Trump all the time, or that's their comedy. And I think, well, now a little bit you're being co-opted because you're so angry. You've been lulled. It's like a siren leading you into the rocks. You've been lulled into just saying Trump, 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 screw this guy, you know. And I think you've now put down your best weapon, which is being funny, and you've exchanged it for anger. Good art will always be a great weapon. Will always be a perfect weapon against power. But if you're just screaming and you're just angry, you've lost your best tool in the toolbox.
Two reactions to it. One, he's such a smart guy. He went to Harvard, Conan O'Brien did, and he's speaking at Oxford right now in England. And you really you hear his intelligence when he's talking. But I think there might be a simpler way, that it's lazy.
Yeah,
it is just lazy to say blank Trump. Because, you know...
that's not funny. That's just
it's not funny at all.
Opinion.
And it's boring and it's lazy.
Right.
And I think he's right.
There are really clever ways that you can do it. And there are comedians who are doing it, but his point is...
It's few and far between, right?
Right.
I will say, when Bill Maher criticizes him, he's hysterical.
No, I agree with that. And I also think the thing with Bill Maher, though, is that he will give it to both sides. And I think there's a feeling that a lot of comedians won't do that.
No, to me, that's why I love Bill Maher.
I agree.
I mean, one of the reasons. He just is so fair about that, and he calls it as he sees it.
I think that's important.
He calls balls and strikes.
Yeah, I agree.
But the idea of saying blank somebody...
there are clever ways to... Now, he also said part of the challenge for comedians is that the line has moved so much. Like, there are things that happen with the Trump administration that are so outrageous that have never happened in a presidency before that the line is now moved. You can't make... The example he gave was if you made a joke about, oh yeah, the president's going to tear down the entire wing of the White House to put it in a ballroom. That's not funny anymore because that's actually happening. So you got to up your game.
I'm going to say one other thing. I think Jimmy Kimmel has been really funny. I mean, he's taken... Yeah, I do. Because I think what he's done is he's taken... You may disagree with him.
I do.
But I think there's humor in what he does. And I think that, you know, he'll take policy and make it funny. And I think when he took that IQ test, it was hysterical. It was hysterical.
Hi, my name is Alana. I am from New Jersey, and I definitely do agree with Conan's saying, but I do believe that we don't care about the comedians and their political views. I think the only thing that we really care about is you being funny, you talking about the current news, and I really don't think it's that deep. We're looking for comedic relief, if that makes sense.
That's Conan's point, is that's your best weapon as a comedian.
Alana, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh boy!
Why?
It's going to be about your interior decorating.
No. Number one, your kitchen is spotless. So kudos to you, but
it's what's on your left.
It is.
Don't come
January.
at my tree.
He's coming after your tree.
It's January.
January.
Don't
it's
come at my tree.
It's
Listen, I'm still in the mood. I'm still in the festive mood. Okay, we need something. We need something.
I just threw mine out last night.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
It had to go.
With people who put these lights up and you see them in March, drives me crazy.
Coming up.
Well, Ronnie Radke, the frontman for Falling in Reverse, is calling for an all-out investigation. He's calling for a resurrection into the claims made by Brittany Furlan that he is behind the catfish that she fell for last year.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. Well, Ronnie Radke, the frontman for Falling in Reverse, is calling for an all-out investigation. He's
calling for a resurrection.
A resurrection? Yes.
He is
First
calling for
there's
a
going to be a resurrection, and then he wants an investigation into the claims made by Brittany Furlan that he is behind the catfish that she fell for last year, the catfish that actually led to some problems in her marriage to Tommy Lee. And she has now renewed this. It was dead and gone months ago.
Nobody was thinking of it.
Nobody was, but Brittany brought it up again last week, saying that Ronnie is behind the catfish, that he is responsible.
That he was having an emotional relationship with her online, and Ronnie saying, BS, wasn't me.
No. So we got Ronnie out, and he says there is a way to get to the bottom of this and to clear his name once and for all, but it is going to require the resurrection of a very popular show.
Do you have any suspicions yourself who's behind the Ronnie account that was catfishing Brittany?
No, I have to subpoena Snapchat now to get the metadata, to get the IP address, because it's clearly an imposter. That's my right. That's what my lawyer said. It's my right. They subpoena all the metadata and they get all of it and they find the IP address and we'll finally find out who it really is.
Would you be down for Nick Schulman and Catfish to investigate this?
I would be down for anybody that has any access to this account that can get the IP that can literally prove who this is. So Neve, if you're out there, yeah, bring Catfish back just for me. That'd make me feel really good. Let's get this going. Let's go. Figure out, because I'm tired of hearing about it, straight up.
I love this guy. I'm not sure about the subpoena thing because you got to have a lawsuit in order to subpoena. Now, he filed for a restraining order. It was denied. And I suppose he could file for a permanent one and try to get a subpoena, but I don't know that that's going to work, to be honest.
Well, you know, whatever he
But
does.
I hope this stays alive for a long time.
If anybody could get to the bottom of this, though, it is Nick Schulman. I mean, obviously, Catfish, for many, many years, he showed everybody how to kind of figure out who is behind these weird accounts. And we actually reached out to Nick Schulman, and guess what, you guys?
I bet he said he would do it.
He is down. So he said he actually knows about this debacle. He knows about this story. He's intrigued. And it sounds like he's going to look through all the, quote, evidence that's out there and get to the bottom of it.
But how do you do it? I don't understand.
I'll tell you how to do it. I mean, Ronnie's talking about subpoenaing Snapchat.
Yeah.
I don't think it even requires that.
How do you do it?
On Catfish, they basically did like reverse Google searches.
Why can't he just do a reverse Google?
The key is to find the IP address. And if it says that the person that created the Snapchat account lives in like India, then you know it's not him. But it is a little bit more complicated. Obviously, if you could find it that easily,
is Patrick
you'd be able to do it
there?
right now.
Oh, you want
Patrick
to solve this right now?
Come over here, Patrick. Come here. Come here. This is a head of IT. So there's this thing where Ronnie is saying that he's not the one who was talking to Brittany Furlan on Snapchat, and that it's some imposter, she was catfished. She's saying it's him. How do you check to see who it actually is? Because there's got to be a way, because Catfish, the show, did it.
On Snapchat specifically?
Yeah.
I don't use Snapchat.
Oh, God.
I can ask my daughter.
This is our IT guy.
I am not 18.
We could have solved the world wonder
Have
of
your
the
daughter
world.
come in tomorrow and run IT.
Oh
That would be
my
great.
God.
But what I would do, you want to know what I would do?
Oh, my God.
I
What
would
you
take
do?
that information, and there are tools out there. Now we're talking more on the IT side. I would take that information, and I would use tools to search that person up. And it also gives certain Instagram, Snapchat handles while you're in there. So I could look up you. I can look up you. I can look up your address, your phone number. I can look up your username. These are the things. These are the tools I would use.
I'm Brittany from California. I think this is something that's been persisting for a really long time, and Ronnie's just really ready to lay this to rest. I think calling in professionals is long overdue. Neve has been doing this for a really long time, and we've seen him doing this. So it's honestly really crazy to me to still be getting catfished in this day and age.
Coming up.
There is a TV show that has a lot of people talking about hockey and other things. The show is called Heated Rivalry. It's on HBO Max. This is a show that it's about closeted athletes.
Right.
In real life, there are athletes who are reaching out to producers of this show to say, hey, thank you, I feel seen.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. There is a TV show that has a lot of people talking about hockey and other things. too. The show's called Heated Rivalry. It's on HBO Max.
It has become a sensation.
It is a huge sensation. Everyone is talking about it, even people who aren't particularly hockey fans.
Well, it's not
because it's
you don't
not
have to
just
be a
about
hockey.
hockey.
It's basically about two competitors, different teams, who develop a relationship, a secret relationship, over the course of years, and you watch it kind of evolve. And it has really taken streaming by storm.
And it has gone beyond just a fun drama or interesting drama that people are watching, because in real life, I mean, this is a show that it's about closeted athletes.
Right.
And Hudson Williams, one of the stars of the show, was talking to Andy Cohen about this and how in real life, there are athletes who are reaching out to producers of this show to say, hey, thank you, I feel seen. This is what he had to say to Andy.
Yeah, it's definitely the people who reach out somewhat anonymously, who are like, I'm a professional player still, and I'm still in the closet.
You've heard from closeted players.
Yeah.
Closeted hockey players?
Hockey players, football players, basketball players.
Wow.
Yeah. So then they're reaching out to like Rachel, our author, who will then like kind of relay these lovely anonymous emails.
Yes.
And sometimes they're just reaching out privately through like Instagram. And those ones are the ones that really just kind of hit you and go, oh, so this is a fun show and it's celebratory, but also sometimes it's just hitting people right in the nose.
It's really interesting because obviously, I mean, there are no hockey players who have come out. I've read this somewhere in the last week or two. There are other athletes who have come out, but it's still a really difficult thing to do.
Football, but it is rare, and
of course there are.
Yeah,
there are everywhere.
And I feel like this show too, I mean, everyone's talking about this show right now, and specifically with Hudson's character, I think a lot of people are seeing like themselves in him, especially in the gay community. And like you said, hockey is like predominantly presumed to be straight men playing it. And so for a queer show to have, you know, a sports he has talked about the pressure that this is really like put on him too, to like play the character right. So I don't know, it's nice to hear that athletes have confided in him.
Yeah, but it's interesting. They came out. They came out anonymously, so they're getting anonymous.
Writing.
Yeah, because it makes sense. They're not going to
Because they're afraid
Right.
that the author or anyone connected to the show might.
But when you
reveal their
watch
name.
the show, what you realize is they have no one to turn to other than each other.
Exactly.
And so, you know, if it's true to life, then there are people playing that sport in real life who have no one to turn to and talk to.
Right.
And they're reaching out to the best connection they have, which is the author of a fictional book.
Yeah, and that's got to be hard for them too,
Which
because
is
how do you
really
confide
hard
in
when
that?
you think about it.
I've heard interviews with the author.
I have not heard
written.
It was
is
a book
based on any.
It's all fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It is based on. It's a story she told that spans, I believe, 2010 to 2017. But there are multiple volumes of it.
Yeah.
And the first season of this show, which just dropped like a month ago, deals with that period, 2010 to 2017, and it's all fictional.
Yeah.
But it also kind of portrays gay relationships in a much more real way than they've been allowed to do on TV
Definitely.
up to this point.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm in Los Angeles, and I absolutely love this show. I love that it is putting such a spotlight on these men and giving such transparency to the experience. I will say, however, are any of us surprised? I mean, a bunch of dudes getting sweaty in tight outfits, handling balls. I feel like the writing's been on the wall, you know?
Spencer Pratt is no stranger to, let's say, publicity stunts. He's certainly had his fair share over the years, but I don't think this is one of them.
This is not. This is not.
He has declared that he is going to run for mayor of Los Angeles. And yes, he is not hiding the fact that this was all born out of what he sees and millions see as the city and the state's failures during the LA wildfires a year ago.
A year ago yesterday.
Yeah, and you know, Spencer is one of the victims who he and Heidi lost their home, and he is enraged over what has happened since then. He's enraged about what happened leading up to it and what has happened since then in the recovery efforts. So
and what hasn't happened.
Right. So,
because, there are, I forgot the number. I saw it yesterday. There were like 16,000 homes that were destroyed, and like 2 or 4% are being rebuilt right now. I mean, it's just nothing.
And because of that, I think that's why he drew such a huge crowd yesterday in Pacific Palisades as he declared his candidacy.
I have to tell you, the most heartbreaking part of the past year wasn't being displaced or losing everything I own. It was the realization that all of this was preventable. We are standing here amongst the ashes of our once beautiful town because the state and local leaders let us burn. Most fire victims cannot rebuild due to building permits and city regulations. This isn't just a political failure, it's a moral one. That's why I am running for mayor. And
I got to tell you something. I've been around a long time and lived most of my life in LA. This ain't no joke. That people are angry in this city, and they have good reason to be angry. There was a failure of leadership, and especially at the city level, and people are suffering still, like in a really bad way. So, and when people are this angry, you look for an outsider with a voice. And I know Spencer's a reality star. It ain't like a reality star hasn't been elected to high office.
But it is true that he has to, if he is serious about this, and I do believe he is,
he'll get signatures.
At some point, he's got to expand. His platform has to be about more than just the recovery.
I don't know that it does. No, I know
because if someone, let's say, we don't know this, but I would assume that Rick Caruso would be interested in running again because he almost won before.
My guess is, and I don't know this, but I think, although I don't think there's a decision yet, that Rick Caruso is going to run for governor.
Okay.
Yeah, well, to Charles's point, we don't know if Spencer's going to be running as a Democrat, Republican, Independent. All we know is that he has fierce criticisms about Mayor Bass and how she handled the wildfires. And he was preaching to the choir yesterday. So through the next couple weeks, we definitely need to hear more of a platform because politically speaking, yes, of course, a lot of people were affected by the wildfires, but there also were a ton of people who weren't, and they're thinking more about their groceries, their health care, and a lot of other things.
Yeah, but usually an issue galvanizes, and LA is such a vast area where there's no sense of community here. I agree with you, but if you can get that one big issue, I think do not dismiss this.
And to Spencer's credit, and to your point on how he has a real chance, if you see right now who's running for LA mayor, it's nobody.
Yeah, and name recognition matters.
Name brand matters. Yeah.
Matters.
Coming up,
Hilary Duff, who has always seemed kind of innocent and pure as a child star, and now even as an adult,
dropped a song
and with a lot of dirty lyrics.
be right back.
You got to hand it to Hilary Duff. Her timing on the release of this song, which you're about to hear a little bit about, is perfect. She's already in the headlines because of the Ashley Tisdale mom group thing.
Which is fabulous.
And then Hilary's husband fired back at Ashley, and so people are talking.
And he was amazing.
And now, Hilary Duff, who has always seemed kind of innocent and pure as a child star, and now even as an adult,
not coincidentally, dropped a song.
And with a lot of dirty lyrics. Hilary Duff talking about sex in bars.
I only want the beginning, I don't want the end. Want the part where you say put the top on, giving you and sneak home late, wake up your roommates. Want the highlights, 10 out of 10. The butterflies from holding your hand. Before we swept us under the bed and we became practically roommates. At the front door, she don't even look my way no more.
So she's talking about shenanigans in a bar. I think.
And other places,
and
too.
Other places.
Is this the Taylor Swift effect?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You just blew my thunder there.
I love it.
Exactly what I was going to say.
See, how you like it when someone spoils it?
Totally. I mean, Taylor Swift never did this until she did.
And then she did Wood. And now
and Hillary's doing the exact
someone
same
says
thing.
Hillary Duff. You know what? You should make a blue turn.
What if older singers finally do this too? Like Liza Minnelli comes out with something really dirty.
I'm good.
Really dirty.
I think we're all good here.
That's not Lizzie McGuire speaking like that. I know they don't stay kids for long, but I don't want to hear about her somebody at the dive bar. What's that about?
I like
the song itself is a pop song.
like it.
Seems fine.
But yeah, this is the way of the world right now, folks.
Coming up.
Katy Perry calling out her new guy, but not forgetting about the last guy. She did a little dump of her December, and the headline of this was, I mean, we knew that they were a couple, obviously.
That is
a very
significant picture.
Be right back.
Rob and Michelle Reiner.
These murders may be tied to a doctor changing Nick's meds.
TMZ investigates the Reiner murders. What really happened? Friday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Katy Perry calling out her new guy, but not forgetting about the last guy. She did a little dump of her December, and the headline of this was a photo that with Justin Trudeau that looks like, I mean, we knew that they were a couple, obviously.
That is a
very
significant picture.
A very loved up photo.
That is a picture that says, I love him and he loves me. I mean, that's different from going Instagram official where you see them kind of walking along, holding hands. Go back to that picture. That's a picture that says they could get engaged in 2026.
Slow down.
I mean
it also is a picture that says they were having a lot of fun on vacation.
I know it does.
In her photo dump, she did also tag Orlando Bloom, interestingly, because you remember we showed you that last month she and Orlando were in, I believe, London.
With their kid.
And so she tagged him in that photo from their London
Which
trip,
totally makes sense because it shows she's still co-parenting. She's not forgotten that, got responsibility, but she's in love with Justin Trudeau and he's in love with her. That's clear. And a lot of people were saying, wow, I don't get it. It doesn't
what
make
that
sense.
photo says he's in love with her? I'm not saying he isn't, but what in that photo? Because he's smiling?
No, he's not repelled.
Oh, because he's not pushing her away. Boy, your idea.
Los Angeles. I'm so confused and surprised by Katy Perry's involvement in like politics recently. Like she was on Blue Origin, went to space, and now she's dating the former Prime Minister of Canada. And I honestly feel like, you know what, good for her. It's kind of weird to see celebrities and politicians overlapping, but in terms of dating Justin Trudeau, good for her. I mean, I would do the same thing if I was a celebrity.
It totally makes sense. And by the way, everybody says, oh, it's so weird. She's an entertainer. He's a politician. Why do you want to date the same person in the same profession as you? Isn't it more interesting to date somebody who's totally different from you? It makes a lot of sense to me.
A lot of people think it's the same profession, but.
Well, there is that. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hi, this is T from Detroit, Michigan, and I wanted to talk about the Nick Reiner case. I just think it's so strange that he would change his medication and he was stable, especially if he didn't report any significant side effects. It was just really fishy. But I do think that presents strong enough evidence for him to maybe win this case. But the real question is, was he actually taking the medication as prescribed?
We're told he was taking the new medication as prescribed, but the new medication sent him off the rails. And
you're right, though, about as for why, well, we just don't know. There's a reason. We don't know what it is, though.
One more.
I'm Bethany from Los Angeles, where Spencer Pratt announced yesterday he was running for mayor at the Palisades rally. This is exactly what Los Angeles needs. It's time for change here. We need somebody who holds integrity, has transparency, somebody who is brutally honest, which is exactly who he is. He has public safety as a top priority. I think Spencer Pratt is just the guy for this job. I'm beyond excited to see what happens. I'm hopeful that he can win this election and really make some great improvements in LA. I believe he's exactly what we need here.
Do not discount it. Do not discount this.
We'll see.
Coming up.
Well, a couple of Titan actors came together not to talk acting, but to play a little hoops. Adam Sandler and Timothy Chalamet, they're at Fairfax High, and they decided to take on a couple of high school students. Didn't go well for the famous guys.
Be right back.
Well, a couple of Titan actors came together, not to talk acting, but to play a little hoops.
Well, they were kind of lobbying.
They did talk about, yes.
Beforehand, they were lobbying for the Oscars.
Yes, Adam Sandler and Timothy Chalamet, but they're also big basketball fans. So they're at Fairfax High for this little chat, and they decided to take on a couple of high school students. Didn't go well for the famous guys, for the older guys. Although it sounds weird to say Timothy Chalamet's older.
Now, Adam plays a lot.
Adam plays a lot.
He plays
Timothy is a huge fan. I don't know how much he plays.
But they lost to these high school students.
Yeah.
No shame, because they may be basketball players.
Yeah.
And is he in hard shoes?
No,
he's
he's got
tennis
sneakers
shoes.
on, yeah.
No excuse.
No
anyway,
excuse.
you're a really good actor, and you're a really good ping pong player. So you can take that.
You can hold on to that.
Yeah.